Ladies, gamers, and gentlemen, welcome to BelleNOiRtv. You are watching Cast My Game Community Casts, where we, in this case today, am going to be casting your replays. My name is BelleNOiR. Make yourselves comfortable. We are about to start. Of course, as with every show, at the start I just need to recap what the show is about, just in case anybody new is tuning in, which I rather doubt, but you never know, it might be nice. So, what this is about: if you have a 1v1 master versus master StarCraft 2 replay, between 10 to 30 minutes long, you want it casted by me, you send it to BelleNOiR@sysnam.cz with the title of the email being Cast My Game, all in caps, so that it gets through the spam filter. And then include your replay, your player name from the replay, so that I know who I'm casting, and a short description of what roughly transpired in the game. That is all you need to do, and then I just pick the replays submitted at random. I always try to maintain a good variety of matchups and game length and players. So what we have today here is we are going to be starting out with a PVT, a replay submitted by ReviLo on a star station, and we are going to go into a TVZ on Berkshire Vestige with RottingApple versus DecS, and we're going to be closing out the show today with UCAP JayPower versus C-Play TheRipper, which is supposed to be a fairly long macro game full of drop stuff. Or was it the other one? Can't remember exactly. I have a lot of replays. I might actually have to check my notes. Give me a second here. Nope. The long and macro oriented was the ZVT. Alright, so that's gonna be the second game today. Okay. Rakinare, I might. But I might get to if I don't have any other replays to cast, so don't worry. Anyways, let me just check if all my options here are okay. There we go. Let's jump into the first game. This is going to be the PVT on Star Station. Bam, bam. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom left position, we have the red Protoss who submitted this replay. It is going to be ReviLo, and his opponent. Spawning in the bottom right is his opponent, ChimerA, or ChimerA. I don't know how to actually pronounce that in English. We just call it ChimerA in my tongue. We see that ReviLo is probably going to be scouting after the pylon. He really wants to get a good scout. This is a 4 spawn point map, even on the ladder, and he wants to be able to scout the Terran before he walls off his ramp, potentially, which a lot of Terrans have been doing, but lately, because blink all-ins are so popular on some maps, this map is not an exception. Blink all-in very good on this map. What they started doing was just put a supply depot at the ramp for spotting purposes, and then put the racks as closer to the command center, so that you can defend blink all-ins more easily, and you're not running the danger of having your stim tech lab on your first barracks sniped off over here near the ramp, or your barracks, one of your production structures, killed by the advancing Protoss army. So we are seeing the gas going down right now for the Terran player, and this lends itself to very different types of play. One thing you can do is just open up with a Reaper for scouting purposes. The other thing you can do is just go into a quick bio push, then One of the other things that you can do is open up with a Widow Mine drop or a Widow Mine Marine push into an expansion, or you can just go straight up to Hellbat drops off of one base while getting your expansion. There is a lot of possibilities here. In Camp Protoss, we see the core just now going down, ReviLo staying only on one gas, so he's probably going to be expanding unless he plans on getting his... oh, wait a minute, there's a chrono boost on the Zealot. Okay, so ReviLo definitely wants to be getting out 2 Zealots. He will have the minerals to do so, and he can even use a second chrono boost onto that Zealot so it finishes before the core is done, and he can get 2 Zealots and a Stalker and be aggressive a little bit towards his opponent, who is getting a factory behind this, so probably Hellions or Widow Mines are a possibility. But more so Hellions, and what is interesting about this, I'm not seeing any... Oh, there we go. A reactor comes down just as I just as I begin to miss it, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, the unit production will be kind of slow without that reactor, so he pretty much has to get it. Him staying on only one gas suggests that he will not be doing some kind of one base factory into a starport play. And still only one gas for ReviLo here. And no expansion going down. Will he be throwing down 3 additional gateways? He's not chrono boosting his warp gate though. He's chrono boosting his gateway. He wants to get as many units out as possible. Now let us see what is going to be coming out of that factory as a bunker gets dropped down. Actually, with proper micro, all 3 of these Marines might get killed, but ReviLo misfiring there a couple of times. And with this barracks, actually, it's building a tech lab, so no units in production for ChimerA here, except the Hellions. Oh, and this is a very bad decision. ChimerA lifting off his buildings and then just landing them. He might have waited for that one Hellion to be done. Any units are good at this situation, and he's been caught off guard heavily. Meanwhile, ReviLo, he's going to expand and gradually add more gateways, but ChimerA in a lot of trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled his SCVs at this point, because quite frankly warp gate will be done very shortly here, and he doesn't know if his opponent has multiple gateways or not. He doesn't even know where he is at. There's no way he will get any units inside this bunker, not if the Stalkers position themselves in front of the bunker. They will practically just 5-shot every single Marine that tries to come out of those barracks, and ChimerA falling apart here, trying to get another command center. But what he really should be trying to get are units. He will end up killing off this one Stalker and maybe a second one, but I rather doubt it, because there's only one Hellion. And he will most probably end up losing that one before the second one pops out. And at this time, against 2 Hellions, ReviLo very smartly retreating his Stalker, getting the support of his buddy here, but I don't know for how long he can keep this pressure up. I mean, multiple additional barracks should have been added in between, and all of this is getting ReviLo's just such a huge lead. He's got the gateways down, he's got the expansion, he's free to saturate that one. Oh, a bit of a missed rally with the Nexus. He's free to saturate those bases as he pleases, and all the time he's keeping the Hellions inside of ChimerA's base, so he's not even able to harass him. But here come the Marauder. One Marauder is not going to be enough, however, and it falls quite rapidly as these Stalkers start to work on the Hellions. I don't think... Oh my gosh, ChimerA in such a bad spot here, and I think he'll be GGing out of this game very, very soon here. Still only on one gas. ReviLo should start saturating those gases a little bit more, and also keep a better eye on his pro production. But I don't think it matters at this point. I mean, there's barely any production up for ChimerA at this point. He can't even produce enough Widow Mines to keep himself safe. This barracks is going to get denied. Factory blows up. No other production facilities are here available for ChimerA. One of these Widow Mines could do something if it repositioned itself. One getting a kill onto the Zod, but this This is very bad without any production. I don't know. I don't actually know why ChimerA is staying in this game. There it is, GG. It's a very aggressive play. I'm kind of surprised that the game went the way it did. I don't know where in the Master League these two guys are, but I'm taking a guess it must be between 80 and 100, because this play did not have the finesse of higher ranking Master players. That was game number 1. Kind of a quick game, I have to say. Let's take a look at game number 2. That's going to be the BelleNOiRtv Vestige game. So this game was submitted by RottingApple, and it is going to be a TVZ. In the top position on BelleNOiRtv Vestige, we have the red Terran player DecS, or DecS. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. And in the bottom, it is going to be the blue Zerg player RottingApple. RottingApple is the player who submitted this replay, if my memory serves correctly, and he's also the one that practically said, well, this game is really good. It's fairly back and forth, and there's a lot of drops going on, so you should be satisfied casting this. So I took him by his word, and without even looking at the replay, I was like, okay, let me just try to cast this game, and we'll see what comes out of it. Nice StarCraft music in the background. Now, BelleNOiRtv Vestige, a good map for Biomech in a TVZ for the Terran player, in the respect that there's a lot of chokes on this map, and you can use that via incorporating Hellbats into your play. And if you fight in the chokes, you're pretty much, with Widow Mines, Marines and Hellbats, you'll be able to annihilate large groups of Baneling fairly quickly, especially with the Hellbats working on the Lings. So let us see what kind of strategy DecS gonna be DecS from now on decides to employ here. Meanwhile, we see that RottingApple opening up with a fairly standard opening, getting a hatch first, followed by a gas, and we'll be getting a pull down immediately. There we go. He wants to have a quick link speed. You can also open up with a hatch pool gas, but that will leave you somewhat vulnerable and to Reapers, which we see are being produced right now by DecS. And if you're going to do that, you might as well open gasless with 4 queens. And especially on this map, 4 queen opening is very, very good, because the third is quite a ways away from your natural base. So getting that creep spread rolling early on aggressively is very beneficial to the Zerg player. And also, if you take a look at the entrance into the main base, it's very narrow, and the natural can be defended by 2 queens against Reapers here. You should not lose a queen versus early Reapers, even if there is 2 or 3 of them, as long as your pool is up. And you can even add 2 additional queens if you feel like it, but that would be a waste most of the time. So we see a reactor factory follow-up as the Reaper is taking pot shots here at the units. Zerglings out just in time. They will be able to chase that Reaper away, but only so long as they are on creep. Off creep, the Reaper is going to be faster and will have to get away. That's why you want to have the speed so quickly, as RottingApple is showing us how this is done. He's not missing very many injects. In fact, he's not missing nearly any injects at all. This queen is has injected the hatchery, so we'll be getting a creep tumor probably only later on, and that's going to be this third queen doing that. Or maybe even this one, and this one will be injecting by the looks of it. Behind this, in Camp Terran, we see 2 additional barracks being added on, and helium production started already, while that Reaper is keeping tabs up on the Zerg base. Does not want to get surprised by any kind of roach pushes or link baneling busts or any of the sort, which he did get a fairly good scout onto the Zerg base, so he knows this is not something that is going to happen. And once those Hellions are out on the map, he can use the Hellions with the Reaper combined to kill himself some Zerglings. But the Reaper does end up falling, and as a result, RottingApple has no problem taking a third base at this point in time. And this is going to be, he might be in some trouble here, because he's taking the third base relatively quickly versus a Terran who opened up with multiple barracks before even adding a third command center or double NG base. So he will be able to push out with a very large force of Marines, and I think he's looking to do a timing push with medevacs, combat shields and stim very quickly. Now this push is designed to do a lot of damage to the Zerg, potentially even kill his third base. I don't know if he scanned. No, he did not scan. Has not scanned so far. And pushes like this are designed to do a lot of damage towards the Zerg player or potentially kill his third base. If you fail to do that though, as a Terran player, you are going to be behind, as we can see 1 evolution chamber already going down. Now normally what the Zergs like to do is get 2 evolution chambers, but since RottingApple has seen that there are no NG bays down, which signifies that the barracks were put down before anything else, and he sees a starport already. He knows that there are going to be units coming his way attacking him. They're going to be fairly offensive, so actually getting double evolution chambers would be counterproductive to him at this time, because more than anything right now he needs units. And since he doesn't have roaches, he's going to have to rely on lings and banelings to defend. So far he's just playing around with the Hellions, tries to get them in a situation where he can surround them, gets one, gets another one, gets a third one potentially, but after that he will probably have to retreat, as those Hellions are still alive, but not microed very well, so they will end up falling eventually. Did kill off 21 links so far, so nice job there by DecS. Just now getting his third up and running, or up and constructing, should I say. And first medevacs and +1 weapons are rolling out, so I think he'll be pushing when the combat shields and the stimpack finish, or at least the combat shields, not stimpack, the +1, at least the combat shields. He should actually be moving out in a couple of seconds right now, because otherwise he's going to fall behind. +1 is on the way for the Zerg as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes additional gases at this point and just adds on upgrades and tech. We already see that the macro hatch is going down, a second evolution chamber as well. The lair is done, so RottingApple in a fairly good spot. 46 to 54 harvesters. That's a pretty good situation for the Zerg, or should I say it's pretty even for both of these players on the economy front. Second engineering bay being added on for our Terran player DecS, and an armory as well. The armory is a little bit too soon, but he will be able to continue that +2 attack upgrade very quickly here. Now here comes the infantry push. How good are the splits? Oh, he'll have to load up because he did let himself get surrounded there. So 0 damage taken so far by RottingApple. And, well, DecS, he has to figure something out. He has to do that damage. If he fails to do damage, he will be behind in the later stages of the game. So that's why he's trying to secure this third base right now. And he'll be trying to hit the third base of the Zerg player yet again, trying to trying to clear some creep. Nice idea, but he has to be careful not to lose his infantry like this. That lacked finesse more than anything. The idea was good, but the execution not so much. Now where do we have... oh, where do we have the Spire? Here is the Spire. So the Spire is going down. Upgrades are rolling. +2 melee attacks started and +1 carapace. The upgrades are going to be even for both of these players, which plays into the hands of the Terran player DecS. However, if he doesn't suspect this muted transition, he might be in some trouble. There's a single drop, excuse me, queued up towards the main base, as he tries to take out an Overlord, but not being very successful in that. The drop has been spotted though, so there are units in position, and I don't think RottingApple will take any damage whatsoever from this. There's one Baneling and multiple Lings. Unfortunately, that one Baneling detonates on one Marine, not the best of trades there. But still, RottingApple, you know, he's not taking damage from this harassment so far, and he's got the infestation pit finishing as well, so he can move on into the hive. He's taking a 4th base, might as well be taking a 5th at this time as well. Not doing that yet, and he's slowly but surely pulling ahead in the economy here. There we have the hive, and finally the Overlord speed is going down as well. And +2/+2 for carapace and melee upgrades. First infestors are going to be entering the play as well, and that is going to prove troublesome for DecS, who, you know, the majority of his army are Marines, and he does have Widow Mines with him, so those fungals are going to be useful in detecting Widow Mines as well. Oh, but he gets the Widow Mine before any detonations happen. Unfortunately, walks into a minefield straight after, and he does see the Widow Mine, so should be able to kill it very wisely, sending only one Zergling at first, and then when he sees that the Widow Mine is actually blown out, he goes in and finishes it off. Where do we have the Mutalisks though? 6 Mutalisks are on the field. I don't think the Terran player saw them yet. And boy, oh boy, is he going to be surprised. There is one missile turret here in the main, one in the expansion, and one at the 3rd base. But I mean, as the Mutaflock gets bigger and bigger, if it even will, because you don't want to overcommit on air units versus Terran. RottingApple might have an advantage here. He tries to take out the infantry in the middle yet again. And he's been successful so far, killing off all the Widow Mines, which is a huge boon to him, because then in the later stages of the game he will not be afraid to move out on the map, and right now those Mutalisks are making themselves useful, killing all the medevacs. Let's see how the medevac count is looking. 8. So there's a lot of work ahead of RottingApple. Will have to kill off a lot more medevacs than he already has. I don't know what these changelings were doing here, but they have not been proving themselves useful by any stretch of the word for RottingApple. Still no 5th base though, there should be one going down, but the Ultralisk Cavern is finished, and the upgrades should be continuing as well. It looks to me almost as if RottingApple is trying to transition into an air play. He's getting +2 flyer attacks, but that doesn't really go well with what he's been doing so far. This attack will be taken out eventually, and the 4th base will stay alive, which is the most important thing for RottingApple right now. He cannot afford losing bases since he doesn't have a 5th base yet, and DecS has been slow on gaining advantages this game. One big advantage he does have, however, he does have the +3 attacks on the way, whereas RottingApple has been missing his upgrades a little bit. He still doesn't have Adrenal Glands queued up, still doesn't have the +3 melee upgrades queued up, and he's lacking in gas, and that is mainly because he just does not have the gas income. He hasn't taken a 5th base yet, and he has to defend on all of his fronts. Now, as soon as he loses those Mutalisks or they are occupied elsewhere, he pretty much will be unable to respond to this. But nice positioning of the infestors on the high ground, catch a lot of those Marines below with a fungal, but He'll be too late to respond to this, is forced to abandon the 4th base, and now he's in trouble. Now he's in trouble. He has to cancel this base, very wisely putting a changeling there, multiple changelings in fact, and he has to take out that base no matter the cost, because if he doesn't, he'll be in a lot of trouble. So he's taking out the army. He's denying the mining from this base, which is good, and he knows that there is no base coming up here. So he's feeling pretty comfortable rebuilding this base, but he really should be taking this one. Finally, RottingApple, you're getting a 5th base. I almost got a heart attack because of that. Now the thing is, with the composition, RottingApple is going for once you don't have any Mutalisks out, you pretty much need Banelings, Lings, Ultras, and Infestors out in any fight you're going to be taking, unless you want to lose your army very cost inefficiently, which means that in that period of time, if the Terran player is multi-dropping you constantly and constantly putting aggression on you, you're going to be having a hard time defending. That is why a lot of Zergs, when they are going with the Ultra composition in the late game, they're putting up a lot of static defenses, a lot of Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers. Oh, huge misfungal there, but the base will go down. DecS not even bothering to lift that. Fungals protecting this army, kind of like force fields and PVTs. And the Terran player, oh my goodness, huge fungal going down. The Terran player getting careless, wants to pursue the Zerg army and getting himself fungled. All the medevacs might go down here actually, but no, in the end won't, because there is not enough energy for additional fungals. He almost lost this game quite nearly just by taking that very bad engagement. So he's trying to, he'll be trying to take out this base yet again, but thanks to this very good creep spread and overlord positioning, RottingApple knows everything. He will try to fungal maybe again from the high ground. No, being a little bit too slow on that part. And DecS decides to leave a couple of Widow Mines behind to cover the retreat of his army and warn him of any units passing through, doing the spotting for him. I wonder what RottingApple's plan is. Apparently his plan is make a lot of Banelings and go for it. That's what he's going to be doing. Luckily for him, he does have the space, and but he needs to retake this one ASAP. He just needs the gas income. He really needs the gas income, and this is a very weird situation we are getting into, because look at the bank. Usually you see the roles reversed. Zerg player having a lot of bank and the Terran player not having enough minerals and a lot of gas. Today the roles are reversed when the Zerg player is kind of struggling to keep that bank as high as he would optimally need, at around 2,000 to 3,000 minerals and at least 2,000 gas to be able to remax comfortably after a huge fight and losing the majority of his units there. Looks like he finally is moving across the map for what looks to be a push. Creep spread is good. That will cover the retreat of his army very nicely here. And Banelings are rolling into the 4th base. There are Widow Mines in position, but they're getting nice hits off onto the infantry. The rest of the army coming from behind. RottingApple getting a phenomenal surround here onto the Terran army, and look at the supplies plummet. RottingApple will take out this base, and probably with link reinforcements will try to move even further into the Terran territory. Too bad he did not finish off those units there with an additional fungal. That was all it took. As it is, the medevacs will be able to heal that up. The infestors are still staying alive, which is the crucial part here for RottingApple, and he still does have 2 ultras and 12 mutalisks. Just wondering why those are not doing anything. They're being lazy. They're not deserving of their paychecks. Oh boy, and these 2 oversteamed buddies are not having a good day today. Neither have the mutalisks, to be quite honest, because they have to get the fuck out of there. There we go. RottingApple having a nice reaction time, I have to say, both on the drops and on the minimap. So let's see. DecS going with a counterattack here. I don't I don't think he'll be that successful because, again, thanks to the creep spread, RottingApple is able to get a good surround yet again once more onto the Terran army, which is forced to retreat. Meanwhile, this space is being pushed yet again, and those units might be as bold as to go far into the creeped up territory of the Zerg and try to take out the third base, but they would, certainly, if it wasn't for these two Ultralisks and Lings to save the day for RottingApple. And the game is pretty much evening out at this point, except the Terran player is losing mining because his fourth base has been denied times and times again, over and over again. The upgrades are even. Chitinous plating I don't see anywhere, which is very interesting. I was wondering why those Ultralisks were dying off that quickly, to be honest. But I don't think it will matter. I mean, you still have a lot of Ultras, you have Banelings, and most importantly, you have Infestors to keep that army locked in place. There we go, leading with the Infestors, fungling half of the infantry, and the Ultras will for sure do the damage they need to do. The supply is dropping rapidly right now for DecS as he's unable to reinforce this 100 versus 172, and the Zerg is pressing forward, killing this base yet again. DecS just not getting a breather in the latter half of this game, lifting up the command center, but it doesn't matter because he just does not have any mining whatsoever going for him. He has the last 140 minerals here at the third base. Everything else has been mined out ages ago, and this was his last bank. These are his last units. If he can't secure a base, he will be able to produce maybe a couple more Marauders, maybe a Marine here and there. Oh, the mules do drop, but if this base gets denied one more time, that will not last long. And finally, we are getting to the point where Zerg might even consider taking this base on the Terran side of the map as his 6th mining base, just because of the inability to take bases anywhere else. Since the scouting link there sees that the planetary fortress is not yet done, might decide to go for it and kill the base yet again. He sees the army for the Terran player is really small and has a lot of map control. Apart from this huge blank area here, he can see everything, so he knows he can go in there without any problems whatsoever. And again, splitting up his army, such good basic but very effective moves. The planetary fortress is going to be taken out. A lot of SCVs and mules as well with the Banelings. Kind of a waste of Banelings, but very effective nonetheless, considering what is the situation for the Terran player, who is going to barely take out this hatchery as the hatchery narrowly falls. But no units left. He's got 3 Marines in this medevac, and I don't think that is going to be enough to provide any kind of problems for RottingApple, as he does fungal that medevac down. And well, that's it. 90 supply versus 173. No mining. If we take a look at the income tab, a big, huge, fat 0 is being shown on the Terran side of things. And he still has to deal with 9 Ultras, 6 Infestors, a whole lot of Lings and Banelings with just 1 medevac, 15 Marauders and 25 Marines. This is not going to go well, ladies and gentlemen. If you are young, if you are kids, or if you have kids watching this, close your eyes. This is not going to be pretty. There is going to be bits of human flesh flying around everywhere. And then we will see a GG, most probably. So the last YOLO push by DecS, but RottingApple having none of that, having no problem whatsoever taking him out. The supply is at 43 and DecS says GG. So that was game number 2. Whoa, a fairly long one. Might have to make coffee after this, because I do want to ladder a bit today. Alright, oh, good evening, Tuchniak. Okay, let's go into the last game of today, which is going to be a PvZ. PvZ on Ackland Waste, a macro game. Lots of harass, it says. And this game was submitted by JayPower. So let's see how this unfolds. Oh, JayPower! You're back in Grandmasters, I take it? Or you were in Grandmasters when this game was played? Either way, let's go into the game. In the top from UCAP we have JayPower, and this must be an older replay because JayPower, as far as I know, is on Clan Mythology right now. And C-Play, TheRipper. I remember this guy. He was one of the guys that played in my tournaments once upon a time. He did have a name change. Wait a minute. What the hell is this? Oh, it's a... okay. It's a Forge Fast Expand. For some reason I'm staring at the screen. Like literally staring at the screen. I see a Zerg and my brain goes, oh, this is a PBT. Good. So that's why I was going like, what is this? When I saw that pylon. Very interesting pylon positioning as well by JayPower. I'm keen to see how the wall will end up looking like when he finishes it off. Meanwhile, Jay is just going to go ahead and chrono boost his Nexus as much as he can. He sees the 14 pull going down with the probe, so he knows that it's not a hatch first, and he'll go ahead and try to block the hatchery probably. First, he will make sure that there is no early gas going down, and this is not a one base play. Would be stupid by the Zerg player to show him the gas anyways. Mostly when the first couple of Zerglings are out, even if it is supposed to be a one base play or two base all-in, the Zergs are taking the gas after the Lings run away the probe. So we have a Forge going down here, and we'll have a Nexus going down as well. Now this Forge opening for JayPower will give him the opportunity to cannon rush potentially a third base or this natural. I doubt he'll go for it because he's a fairly macro oriented player, and he doesn't like cheeses very much. As we can see, he's only delaying the expansion so that he can get a leg up onto his Nexus, and he does, approximately 20 seconds. So the gateway goes down as well, and we'll be looking for those gases to go down in the main base of JayPower. Meanwhile, this probe is gonna get chased away with all 4 Zerglings. I kind of hate when players do this, because when you watch pro games, what the pro gamers mostly do, they only put 1, maximum 2 Zerglings onto the probe and use the remaining 2 ones to scout out the location for additional probes or pylons. Now, if JayPower stayed a little bit longer with that probe and, for example, tries to scout the third base, if it's going down, this probe would not have made it back home to the main base and would have died because there were 4 Lings on it. But the fact that he retreated that probe immediately and the probe was going in a straight line the whole time pretty much means that only 1 Ling was able to hit it at any given time. So it survived. And it kind of pisses me off, you know why? Because I'm like, I want, like, you see these replays at tournaments and you see the probes staying there for such a long time, rescouting the third, maybe even checking the natural if a queen is in production or whatever, and it still lives because there's only 1 Ling chasing the probe, and the second Ling is running around the map checking for second probe or proxies. But what people on the ladder do, they just put all 4 of those Zerglings on your tail. And you, at that point, you're like, why don't you play like a pro, god damn it? Because you don't get any scouting in, right? So a Stargate opening for JayPower. He loves his Stargate openings, I have to say. So let's see if this is going to be, probably going to be a Phoenix. Although anything can happen when JayPower is playing, so Void Rays are not entirely out of the question. Let's see, gases are being taken for TheRipper, and probably be getting a Roach Warren as well. And yep, it's a Phoenix. So the Phoenixes are rolling out, but the Zerglings do make it in, and they are going to scout the Stargate. Not good news for JayPower. He probably wanted to hide those Phoenixes a little bit longer, but now he'll be forced to go out on the map with those Phoenixes and make them useful, pretty much, because those have been scouted right now by TheRipper. So he does find this Overlord, and will probably end up finding one more Overlord here. That's gonna be it, because frankly, as far as TheRipper's Overlord spread goes, not very good. We have one Stalker harassing the Queen here. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes are gonna be taking out yet another Overlord, and this time it might supply cap actually TheRipper, but only for a little bit, as 2 additional Overlords are about to finish up. But it does cost him to waste minerals on additional and larva on additional Overlords, so that's good. JayPower getting a 4th Phoenix, and already we see his Robo is on the way, and after that he adds on 3 additional gateways, and will be taking a 3rd base in quick succession here. These Phoenixes might be hungry for some Queen kills, and TheRipper has produced a considerable amount of links, so JayPower will have to be on top of the ball and force field his entrance. He does not want those Zerglings getting past. Meanwhile, trying to kill the Queen, not being very successful, was lacking that one more Phoenix, and I think one of those Phoenixes has been taken out. Yes, it has. This Queen should have the kill. There we go. So JayPower being forced to multitask in the worst possible moment. And are you kidding me? Are you telling me you will not? Thank you. You know, sometimes it happens where you have everything planned out. You see, the 4th Phoenix was just about to rendezvous with the 3 of these. By the time it would arrive, the Queen would be almost dead, and the 4th Phoenix would just kill it off before the Graviton Beam would run out. But since there was a run-by here, JayPower was forced to force field here and then do God knows what. He kind of missed the mark and lost 1 Phoenix because of that. Interestingly, a War Prism is going out instead of an Observer, unless he already got it out. Oh, there we go. He got it out. And after that War Prism, he will probably go into Colossus production, unless he wants to do something funky with Gravitic Drive and get a Speed Prism up very quickly. Has to be careful not to kill his own Zods, though. There we go. These rocks, Justin Browder, or Dustin Browder, thank you very much for implementing those. StarCraft would be much less fun without it. Kidding, of course. I hate those bloody rocks. So Hydralisks are on the way already, and this is playing into JayPower's cards. He's practically playing this by the book. He's opening up with a Stargate, forcing his opponent to respond to that. Most probably going to be getting Hydras. So what do? I transition into Colossus, and I'll have the counter by the time he hits me. The first Colossus will be popping out just when JayPower needs it to, and this is going to be fairly close. Couple of missed force fields, but we have this War Prism coming in, and I think what JayPower will want to do here, he'll want to lift the Queen up, warp in some units if he doesn't have them in the War Prism already, and then kill off the Queen, the Spore Crawler, and any additional things he can kill off. But he sees the army is coming back, so maybe he will try to lure the army out of position before doing that. This War Prism, though, is not seen by the Zerg player, because the Overlords have been taken out beforehand by the Phoenixes. A move that a lot of Terran players mostly do instead of Protoss, but it is also good to adopt such tactics. Well, I have to be careful not to lose those Phoenixes though, JayPower. There we go, getting those Phoenixes out of the way. Thanks to this Overseer, the Observer was of course taken out, and well, the usefulness of the Phoenixes is running out very quickly here. JayPower can't find a use for them because there are Spore Crawlers, Queens and Hydralisks all over the map. And if we look at the army supply, even in army supply, JayPower is a little bit ahead, which is surprising considering the fact that he's Protoss. So if you're going for a build like this, your army is going to be moderately small for a pretty decent amount of time before you can before you get all your tech up, the upgrades, etc., and you can actually then you start mass producing army units. We see 9 gateways being added on by JayPower, a second robotic facility finishing up just right now, and he might go for a second try for this base and try to take it out. Meanwhile, Phoenixes are doing work on the production, I mean the mining mineral lines here. Not killing very many workers. JayPower throughout the course of this game killed only 6, but that's okay. Still has this Warp Prism here to potentially warp in units. But Ripper so smart, leaving 4 Hydras there. If that Warp Prism wants to get anywhere near those, as soon as it closes in, it's gonna get shot down. Nice moves there. Phoenixes are proving, or would have been proving useful if they saw this army, but so far have missed it. And that means JayPower is going to be absolutely clueless that this army is out on the field. But yet again, the Phoenixes are coming back, and there's a warp in the main base. Those Hydralisks are pretty good versus Zods, and kiting back. Too bad those Zods don't have charge, I have to say. Yeah, that's not even queued up. Even Blink is not finished yet, so JayPower a little bit behind on that. But you know, since he opened up the way he did, it's gonna take a little bit longer to get his upgrades rolling from forges and stuff. So that is why only now he's getting +3 instead of just getting already, I don't know, like +3 armor, +1 shields or something like that. And the Zerg player is going to be on par with the upgrades. He does have Vipers out, so the plan here is use the Vipers to snatch the Colossi, kill it with the Hydras quickly, and then take care of the rest of the army. But he needs to be pulling back the Colossi constantly, like he is now. 2 have fallen down, but 3 are still out on the field, and the Vipers are out of energy. Should have built more Vipers. Reaper should have really built more Vipers. JayPower is taking this opportunity to warp in more Zealots into the main base, and this time the harass will be immensely successful as JayPower is pushing in with the remainder of his army, getting Storm and Charge, transitioning out of the Colossus build thanks to the Vipers. The Vipers, we only have 2 of them out on the field, so that means they're gonna have energy for like 4 abducts maximum. That's not good for the Zerg player, as one of his bases falls, 21 of his workers are killed, and he's suffering in production and drone count as well. Have you seen a Protoss with 82 probes in a PvZ match? I have not. Well, maybe Minigun. He never stops making probes, motherfucker. But ordinarily, you don't go beyond 76. So JayPower playing this like a Zerg, saying, you know what, I don't need to have a large army, I just need to keep replenishing as fast as I can, so I'm gonna need a large bank to do that. Now we have a ballsy Mutalist transition. This can be a smart move, but I don't think it's going to be a smart move this late into the game. I mean, a little bit earlier, if this happened, would have been good. But this late into the game, I don't think it's going to be that good, and I don't think it's going to accomplish what the Reaper hopes it will. Because we have Storm out on the field, we have Stargate, and we can see the fleet beacon going down, and an additional Stargate as a response to JayPower seeing this. And we have Archons, you know, and those Mutalisks are without any upgrades, whereas the ground army of the Protoss is 2-3, and he's getting +1 shields as we speak. So JayPower positioning himself defensively, having 3 High Templars there. And furthermore, this composition by TheRipper is very weak to storms. I'm just waiting for those to go down. He's trying to abduct as many Colossus as possible, but I don't think that's his main problem here. The Templars are. That's why he snatches them off the high ground, but there are more coming from behind. The Hydras are getting melted down by the Colossi. Time Warp's going down haphazardly around the place, and I think TheRipper is going to GG in a little bit here as the Warp Prism is about to take the space out yet again. And we have a second Warp Prism here going to take out this base. Remember, JayPower has a lot of gateways, 17 to be quite exact, and behind this he doesn't have to do anything else, just to keep warping in Zealots. Why? Because there is 0 army units out for TheRipper to be able to defend this. Everything is only in production and nothing is out on the field, so 2 bases are going to be falling simultaneously, I think. JayPower, if he warps in more Zealots, he is going to be successful. Looks like TheRipper is having a hard time deciding which base he will end up sacrificing. Another warping of Zealots here, and I think that... oh, okay, this time the Warp Prism will not survive, but the bad thing is that the Corruptors cannot fight on the ground. 2 bases down, 3rd base under assault, 36 drones killed this game. Things are not looking well for TheRipper, and if we look at their harvester count, it's 82 versus 62. So... oh my god, and those Zealots are actually going into this base next. JayPower clicking them back into the mineral field, trying to take out as many drones as possible. I think those are on hold position actually. No, they're on attack mode. Alright, that's fine. That's completely fine, because they did the job they needed to do. And all of this gives JayPower time to get more upgrades out. Quite frankly, I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't taken additional bases here or here. He's going to do it right now, but at the same time, this is a very rare occurrence here. At the same time, the players are they want to expand to the same location. I wonder if TheRipper is trying to expand here and not retake the space here after he gets rid of the Zealots. JayPower finally realizing that he's got a little bit too many probes, so sacrificing quite a lot of them, and this should scare TheRipper. If I was a Zerg player and I saw the Protoss just throwing probes at me, I would be like, holy shit. Preemptive time warps and storms going down. JayPower really does not want to lose his army at this point, and he has to be careful. The feedbacks will have to be very quick, and he does see those Broodlords, so he cannot lose those high temps under any circumstances at this point. He does have Void Rays here as well, but Corruptors are in the back ready to take those out. Nice blink to the side with the Stalkers, but they are going to be chewed to death by the Broodlings and the Broodlords. Corruptors are trying to start working away at the Void Rays that are falling, but not quickly enough. And right now there is no anti-air almost here for TheRipper, but oh, this is going to be really close. JayPower needs more Void Rays, he needs more Stalkers. Instead he's just warping in High Templar, is going to be making them into Archons. Oh yes, he is. I think that might have been a mistake, because he needs anti-air more than anything right now to take care of those Corruptors so he can get at those Broodlords. 2 additional Void Rays joining the fight, but firing at the wrong units. And if you can get those Stalkers and the Archon underneath those Broods, his day will be saved. It's 145 supply against 135, but the Zerg is down on bases. He's got barely any mining going for him compared to JayPower. If JayPower survives this fight somehow, and he does, 4 Colossi still remaining on the field. He does get rid of the Broodlords. The Hydras are falling, and GGs are very close here for JayPower, as the only army TheRipper is building right now is a bunch of Hydras, and they're not going to do anything for him versus 4 Colossi. JayPower has an additional base here, so all he has to do is relocate a couple of probes or rebuild a couple of probes, and he'll be good to go and win this game. His probe count though suffered a little bit, going down to 61, having to remate some of those. But he's still in a fairly good position, harassing all over the place. Not really killing all that much stuff, but altogether 51 drones have gone down this game by his hand alone and his Psy Blades. And right now he can just stabilize a little bit, He's still ahead in food, ahead in harvesters, ahead in army supply. The upgrades, well, are maxed out almost. JayPower probably will be getting shields at a later stage of this game, but level 2 shields are quite enough. Right now he doesn't know what his Zerg opponent is doing basically. He doesn't know if he's going to be remaxing on Broodlords or if he's going to be getting different units, so he's, as a precaution, he's getting the +1 air attacks. But now he's got to be very happy because he sees Infestors and Hydralisks, and he's got the perfect composition to deal with that. These Infested Terran Eggs will not do anything, will get killed very quickly. And I think TheRipper is realizing very well right now that he can't win this, and he just leaves the game. Nicely played by JayPower. Let me ask you, Jay. Rage quit OP, of course. Let me ask you, Jay. How did your nickname came to be? Like, how did you come up with your nickname? Like, who is Jay? I don't think that's your name, right? If that's your name, that it would make sense if that's your real name, but I don't think it is. Oh, your name is Jay? Okay. Okay, I understand. I understand. Alright guys, this was another Cast My Game. There will be no Cast My Game tomorrow because I'll be casting the Zoe UK Open. I think you played in that one, JayPower, the previous week. I'm not entirely sure, but I think you did. I don't know if it was the Zoe... Oh, you're not from the UK actually, so you can't. So you played in the Mythology Open, the Game Shop Open. For some reason I have you fixated in my brain as being British, so forgive me about that. So no Cast My Game tomorrow because I'll be casting Zowie UK Open with Maddles. If you want to tune in to the cast, don't forget to follow me on Twitch. I mean not on Twitch, on Twitter and Facebook, as I'll be posting links to the stream on there. And in the meantime, until we see each other again, just have fun, good luck, stay safe, and remember, storm first and ask questions later. See ya.